Hello and welcome to today's video. Today we're looking at angles and degrees. So degrees are often written with this little circle to indicate the number of the degree. So what are degrees? Degrees are the way that we measure angles. Just the same as we measure distances in kilometers and weights in kilos. The good thing is that we only need to think about degrees. With kilometers, there are also centimeters. With liters, there are also centiliters. There are ways to call parts of a degree, but you only need that if you want to be a pilot or a ship's captain. So how does the degree system work? We start with a circle. A circle has 360 degrees, and it's divided into 4 quadrants. A quadrant is a quarter of a circle. And you can see in the diagram of a quadrant there, in the bottom left-hand corner of the quadrant, the purple part, there's a little square line, and that indicates that anytime you see that, the angle is 90 degrees. So it's like a clock. At the top, you have 12 o'clock, 12 a.m., which is 0 degrees, the start of the circle. It's also 360 degrees, the end of the circle. At 3 a.m., it is 90 degrees. So from 12 to 3 a.m. is 90 degrees. 6 a.m. at the bottom is 180 degrees from 12 o'clock at the top. So from 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. is 90 degrees. The 180 from 12 until 6 minus the 90 from 12 until 3. So 9 a.m. is another 90 degrees on from 6 a.m. So from 180 up to 270. And then 9 a.m. till 12 o'clock again is another 90. 360 for the total minus 270. So 12 is where you start and where you get back to after you go around the circle. So it's 0 degrees, also 360 degrees. These 4 quadrants are given numbers, and the numbers never change. So the first one is from 12 o'clock till 3 o'clock. That's the first quadrant. The second one is the one to the left of that. The third one is the bottom left. The fourth one is the bottom right. So they always keep their numbers. So the bottom left quadrant is always third, and each one is 90 degrees. So we're going to look at the number of degrees on a straight line. So we've taken everything away except the straight white line and the circle. How many degrees do you think are on a straight line? So a straight line makes 2 quadrants. Each quadrant is 90 degrees. So a line is 180 degrees. So above the line, where the top little hand-drawn red part of a circle is 180 degrees, and the one below is 180 degrees as well. So there are 2 sides, the top and the bottom, both are 180 degrees. So now we're going to look at angles on a straight line. We know that the total degrees for the line is 180, and you can see in the picture we have a line coming down and joining the straight line at an angle of 45 degrees. Can you calculate how many degrees the other angle is? And the answer is 135 degrees. Because we know the 2 of them together have to come to 180 degrees, and 180 minus 45 equals 135. So question, what about the angle below the line where the red half circle is? How many degrees is that one? And the answer for that one is 180 degrees. Notice how all the angles add up to 360. So we have 45 plus 35 plus 180, which comes to 360 degrees. Okay, more about angles on a straight line. If you have more than two angles, so we have two lines coming down and joining to the straight line, and the right-hand angle is 45, the top one is 100. The same idea that we did before will work, so we can do 180 minus 100 minus 45 to find out the missing angle. So as long as there's only one that we don't know, we can find the answer. And so how big is the other angle? The answer is 35 degrees to make the total 180. So easy. 180 minus 100 minus 45 equals 35. So now we're going to talk about describing angles. If I want to tell you which angle I'm talking about, how do I do it? We use three letters to describe angles. The start of the first line is the first letter, then the place where the lines join is the second letter, and then the end of the other line is the third letter. So if you look at the angle where the question mark is, it starts at the bottom left A, they join at C, and the end of the other line is B. So that is ACB. So in the picture, the question mark line is ACB, and we can write it also the opposite way. We can do BCA, depends where you start. Okay, so now we have two others, one with two question marks, one with three question marks. Can you give the letters to describe each of those two? So the one with two question marks is B, C where they join, and then E. The one with three question marks is E, and then C where they join, and then D. So the answer, the two question marks is BCE, and the three question marks is ECD. Okay, parallel lines. Parallel lines are two or more lines that are always the same distance apart, like railway tracks. So the gap between them is always the same. So if it's on the left, it's 5 centimeters. On the right, it's 5 centimeters. Anywhere in between, it will also be 5 centimeters. Now, what if you have a straight line that joins two parallel lines or more? Because you can have more than two parallel lines. So with a straight line that joins two parallel lines, the angles where the line joins each of the parallel lines add up to 180. We kind of already know that lines, angles on a line add up to 180. So the bottom one, 130 plus 50 equals 180, and the top one, 50 plus 130 equals 180. So looking at the top figure there, you can see on the bottom we have 130 and a question mark. So to find out what the question mark is, we do 180 minus 130 equals 50. So the question mark is 50. So when we have this shape of a Z, letter Z, the two angles, one above the other, will both be the same. And that is true even if the Z is the wrong way around. joining line is going from top left to bottom right instead of top right to bottom left. So the angles in the opposite corners will be the same. I think you can see that on the diagram with the red lines, the 250s and the 230s. Okay, we're going to end on a quiz. You can see there's a list of angles on the left there, BHI, HEF, etc. And in the picture on the right, you're given the size of one angle, 100 degrees. So what you have to do is you have to calculate all the other angles and then put their correct size next to the description on the list. You're not going to be able to do them in the order that they're on the list. So have a go, take your time, put the video on pause because I'm going to go on now with the answers. So the first one, BHI is 100 degrees. Second one, HEF is 80 degrees. You can see it's on a straight line with the 100 degrees that you were given at the beginning. Next one, BEF is 100 degrees. That's on a straight line with the 80 in HEF. So those two have to add up to 180. Next one, CBH is 80. And ABH, which is on a straight line with that, has to be 100. And then DEB, 80, because it's on a straight line with the 100 we started with. And finally, DEH, I'm sure you know by now that it's going to be 80. So I hope you did okay on that one. And this is the end, my friend. See you again next time.